This is a copy of a paper that I have from a book. It's called A Brief Introduction to Austin's Theory of Positive Law and Sovereignty. And in here he says, can a man be subject to himself? A power over a person which cannot be exercised without that person's consent is no power over him at all. A person is subordinate to a body of which he is himself a member, only if that body has power to act notwithstanding his dissent. So what this means is that in the Constitution, a person can be a member when they join, such as joining the military or applying for employment as a civil servant, or being elected to office. What's not in the Constitution it is things such as those laws not passed into positive law. And those things not according to the Constitution, which are not passed into law, called positive law, then becomes a contract. So a power over a person which cannot be exercised without that person's consent is no power over him at all, because the Constitution never gave power to the federal government over individuals who didn't become a member of the military or an elected person and so forth. They have to individually consent. So when we look at the Office of the Law Revision Council in their codes, what we see is there's the right to tax employees of the federal government in Title V. There's the right to tax members of the armed forces. And we see that these are positive law because they have an asterisk, and when you click on it and open it up in front matter, it says this law has, or this title has been made positive. But when you go down to Title 26, it's not been made positive. It's not a law unless or until you sign the forms agreeing to pay taxes, and you do so on the W-4. The law is in the contract, and the contract is the law. So once you sign the form agreeing to pay, you've made it a positive law for you individually, in which point you give them power over you. You give them consent to have power over you to charge you a tax through Title 26, Internal Revenue Code. Okay? Simple to understand, very simple. If you don't understand about how the federal government only has the power on federal lands, which is what the Constitution says in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17, and the list of things it can do in Article 1, Section 8, then watch some of my other videos, because I go over this repeatedly, and I show you several books and different types of material which show you that the federal government has authority and power on the federal lands. And so when they pass a title, according to the Constitution, they give it a positive law citation. When they can't, they don't give it a positive law citation because it's a contract. And they use their instrumentalities, such as the Federal Reserve Bank and part of the Internal Revenue Service, outside the Constitution. Easy to understand. Either it's a law by the Constitution and applies on the federal lands, or it is not a law by the Constitution. It's applied off federal lands by way of contract through your individual consent. And your individual consent makes it a positive law.